Okay, so if you remember from the previous section, all of the exponents that we dealt with were positive. So let's try to develop a little bit of an idea here. Suppose we have a to the m over a to the m. Since we have the same thing on the top and the bottom, that's equal to 1. But we also know that we subtract exponents here. And so this is a to the 0. And so what therefore must be true is that these two things must be the same. And that leads us to make a fairly important statement, is that if we have something raised to the 0 exponent, it's going to equal 1. And that's a very important result that we want to try to remember. Anything to the 0, anything as complicated as this, raised to the 0 will be 1. Alright? So let's put our previous rules into play here, and we'll begin to see what happens with negative exponents. Okay, so let's look at a cubed over a to the 5th. First of all, what that means is simply a times a over 5a's. And so we cancel one out and one out on the top and the bottom, always replacing them with 1, which is a big deal. And that gives us 1 over a squared. But remember our rule for division. We subtract. This is a to the 3 minus 5, which is a to the minus 2. And so therefore that suggests a very important result. These two must be equal. And so what that tells us then is that if you have a to a negative exponent, or just minus n, that's the same as 1 over a to the n. Alright? And there again is a really important rule of exponents that I suppose you have seen before in Algebra 1, but it's worth seeing again. And if you just look at this development here, you'll see why it has to be true. Okay, so here's a good example to help us see how to put all of these properties into one. Actually, let's try to make this a little bit more. There, how about that? So now this really does get into everything. So when I begin working, I'll first have to deal with those exponents. So I get 3x to the minus 5, y cubed. And then when I square this, I get 16x squared, y to the 6th, all over 6x to the minus 1, y to the minus 12. So when I multiply on the top, 48x to the minus 3, y to the 9, over 6x to the minus 1, y to the minus 12. So now we do our division, and 48 divided by 6 is 8. And then we're looking at minus 3 minus a minus 1, so that's x to the minus 2. And then we're looking at 9 minus a minus 12, and that's going to be y to the 21. Now we generally like to write these without negative exponents, and so this would be finally written as 8 times y to the 21 over x squared. So you should check all the lines in this and make sure that you can reproduce them. Okay, so there we go, and I'll see you next time.